The former leadership of the Proud Boys has put Donald Trump in a box. 5 Proud Boys leaders sue the Justice Department over January 6th prosecutions. 5 leaders of the Proud Boys, 4 of whom were found guilty of engaging in a seditious conspiracy to keep Donald Trump in power on January 6, 2021, want the government to pay them restitution over claims that their constitutional rights were violated. They filed a lawsuit in federal court in Florida earlier today. The lawsuit follows Trump's decision to pardon virtually all January 6 defendants in one of his opening acts as president, an extraordinary attempt to recast the official public narrative about an attack that halted the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history. Its language echoes Trump's own claims that the investigation into that attack was illegitimate and politically motivated. Now, the suit could force the Trump administration to defend their prosecutions or to pay damages at taxpayer expense to the Proud Boys, a far-right group with a history of violence, a decision that historians warn could amount to an endorsement of using violence for political gain. Matthew Dallek, a political historian at George Washington University, said a settlement would suggest that the violence of January 6 was entirely justified. It would say to the country that these Proud Boys who were convicted in a court of law in a fair trial were wrongfully prosecuted and are victims. It just turns the entire day on its head. The lawsuit filed by Henry Enrique Tarrio. If my name was Henry, I'd go by Enrique too. Ethan Nordine, Joseph Biggs, Zachary Rell, and Dominic Pizzola seeks $100 million, claims that federal authorities violated the Constitution in an effort to punish and oppress political allies of President Donald Trump by any and all means necessary, legal or illegal. It claims the 5 men should be paid for violations of their constitutional rights, ensuring due process and a speedy trial and barring unreasonable search and seizure, and that they were subject to malicious prosecution and false imprisonment. It resurfaces many of the arguments made by the Proud Boys unsuccessfully at their trial, that Enrique Tarrio never read a document shared with him by a girlfriend calling for a revolution akin to 1776 or Russia's 1917 coup, that FBI informants tainted the evidence against the Proud Boys, and that the government destroyed exculpatory evidence in the case. Tarrio, who was barred from the city on January 6 due to a previous arrest, was convicted of plotting to attack the U.S. Capitol and then watching it unfold from a hotel room in Baltimore. In his absence that day, prosecutors said that Nordine, Biggs, and Rell stepped into leadership roles. They pushed through police on Capitol grounds and at the front of the crowd with Rell shouting, "Storm the Capitol." That's the Fedsurrection. Dominic Pizzola used a police riot shield to break through glass on the Capitol's West Terrace. That was the first breach of the building, enabling people to go in through that window and open other doors. "We made this happen," another Proud Boys leader said, who cooperated with the government. The suit says that the Proud Boys have been subject to systemic harassment by left-wing groups. All 5 of these guys apologized at their sentencing for what happened at the Capitol. And Joe Biggs, who was allegedly the number 2 guy in the Proud Boys at that time, he was a former reporter for Alex Jones's website, sobbed and cried like a little bitch during his sentencing. That's right, Joe. We know about that. Cried like a little bitch. Not so proud then, were you? Anyway, I think Donald Trump pays them.